I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call the meeting to order. I'll make a motion if there's no changes to be made on today's agenda, February 7th, 2023.
Second,
Okay, got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye. I make a motion to approve the minutes for January 26th and 31st.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's go down to meetings attended. Go for it, Sean.
I don't really have any, but I got a jam-packed week.
This week.
Yeah. So this week and next, actually, gonna be kind of ugly.
I had a conservation meeting last night. Pretty much going over Eden Park, some of the things that we was looking at there.
Campground?
That was discussed.
Good.
What we're looking at is, we got the playground equipment in, we got a little bit of concrete to pour. Get it away because of the placement of the stuff was too close to a border, and we have to move it out to the side. We're looking at putting a shelter and a couple benches. And kind of talked about the part of maybe doing half scale, what is out there, or start looking at that anyway. Water fountain, we're gonna write some grants to get our water fountain out there. We gotta get the well tested that's out there. That's pretty much it. Windows, I'm talking to Burlington Glass to get some, looking at it different ways. We can go replace the whole window. I want to see if we can do glass replacement to save some money. And so they're kind of looking at that to see if we can do the same. Sometimes frames have a extension that you can put a double pane glass into, and that would save us quite a bit. But we're just looking at different options because there's a lot of windows. I think there's 77 windows, I think, totals. So that would save quite a bit if we could do that and still get the same results at the end. So,
But they're at least they're not as big as them over there.
kind of, they're all big. They're all about the same size.
Well, there's two together.
Yeah. Yeah, but as far as the opening, we get the same amount of glass. So we're looking at that, and I'll get them up here again to look at it.
Will them ones be as efficient as
They'll be just as efficient as if you replace the whole,
frame and everything? Okay.
you just have the cost savings of the frame and the construction. Because they're not gonna fit perfect. I mean, you gotta do build outs in them because it's a block. Metal frame building.
Yep.
So you'd have to do a little build out to get the exact size and get where you can get them in and out, and so maybe this might be the route to look at. The best results, so.
That's the question.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm like, Sean, I didn't have nothing last week, but I've got a busy week coming up. And we do have a meeting Thursday night with Farm Bureau, kind of a state of a union. Not call it. They ask a lot of questions about what we're doing on roads and the 5-year plan, and
Is it out here at this,
yeah, it'll be here at the Farm Bureau office,
what time?
8 o'clock on Thursday night.
You think if they wanted to know, they could come to our meeting.
They have, when we, so a lot of times, several times when we.
We meet every week.
Yeah, well, the budget, there'll be a lot of budget questions.
I'm not.
It's just something. They've always done, and we've always catered to it. I mean, they're a good amount of our constituents. So. They usually have some good questions. So,
Oh, hell, it's only one more meeting, right?
right, and it's after hours meeting then.
Mm-hmm.
We do the midnight one start.
2 o'clock in the morning. But
It's usually an hour meeting, a strong hour.
yeah, there'll be a lot of questions. Some good input too.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed, the higher in government you get, the more meetings you get. and the less gets done. They love to talk. Drives me crazy.
Why 8 o'clock?
They,
Time
they're,
was booked. It's a social meeting.
well, they get together and do their meeting and eat their chili soup and then we're entertainment, I guess.
Dinner and a show.
Yeah,
Show.
okay, we've reviewed the payroll changes. We got, yeah, with the public here, we got some good input or
We're bad.
Good input, I don't know about good, right?
Okay, they're done. Well, moving on.
Did you get that email, Sandy?
I have a little envelope there.
Okay,
Yep.
make sure I
it's
did your
there.
job right.
Was there an attachment or just the?
Yeah, the attachment was on there for, the print, what he. Maybe not.
It's a attachment on there.
Welcome, Morning Sun Ambulance.
I'm not seeing.
Well, let me look on here.
Attachment on there.
You're
Oh,
getting right into
sorry.
the chair, Sean.
Sorry,
Maybe
sorry.
it's a little technological.
All right, I heard it. I gotta send you a different one. Smart Alec.
Can't resist.
All right, here comes another one. It's got two attachments. I don't know, one of them was the thing, I can't remember what the other one was.
Here.
That's the presentation, which is the rules in which you have to go by, basically. And then the other one was his kind of recommendation on the people that should be involved, with little lines next to them for people's names. You can print that one if you want, I don't care. The other one is, I guess, the one that I was more looking at, they could at least look at and have something to talk about. There you go. And it shows representations from the cities and the people and whatnot. He's got 9. He's got an advisory of 9 on his paper, I guess, to start out.
All I care as long as we get it done and done right.
Yeah, right. Okay. So Morning Sun, are we talking about ambulance stuff?
Where you, I handed one of you the law flow, one of you the Morning
So
Sun.
Morning Sun's had 7 calls year to date. Says year to date.
Maybe the January report,
Yeah, it's January.
spring, February.
Okay.
And Emery is on for the 8:45. I don't know if somebody else was coming on with her. Good morning, Emery.
There's. Walpole and I'll hit the rings.
Yeah, sure.
Morning, how are you?
Good. Was somebody gonna join you for this?
Yep. So I'm Emery. Jennifer Fensel with Eastern Iowa Council of Governments is going to be joining us as well. If you're ready for us, we can share screen and share that PowerPoint.
I will attempt to do that. Let's see here.
Okay. Jennifer, if you want to go ahead and share that. And we can't hear you, Jennifer.
Of course you can't. So,
There we go.
so I just had to.
All participants can share simultaneously. Is that what I needed to get?
I think I'm just sharing. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we can-
try it and let's see what happens.
There you go.
Okay. That looks pretty good. Yeah.
That
I'll
works.
go with,
Leave it alone.
yeah, exactly. So great. Thank you so much for giving us time on the agenda this morning. I'm Jennifer Fensel, and I work for East Central Iowa Council of Governments, but I have also been working with watershed management authorities for the last 10-ish years, and the Lower Cedar has just completed their watershed management plan, and the board asked us to reach out to the members and let everyone know what's going on and what we plan to do next. So this PowerPoint is just part of that. Now I'm hoping, do you see the full screen or do you see? Like, okay, well, we'll just keep going and see what happens. So just a little bit of background about the watershed. It's about a little over 700,000 acres. There are 7 counties, and the subwatersheds, there's a number of the smaller subwatersheds. And of course, as you probably, I mean, obviously you guys are where everything converges. So the Cedar River Basin dumps into the Iowa River in Louisa County. A little background on the Watershed Management Authority. WMAs.
If I can interrupt,
Sure.
the slides aren't moving, Jen. So
They aren't. So do you see like the full slide?
we see the slide set on the left, and then we can see it walking around in the slides. So
Why is that happening? Okay, let's stop sharing and we'll try this again. All right.
I think it'd be helpful to see a map, I guess.
Yes, of course it would. And I
Yeah.
had a map up, but it was not showing. Here, let's see if this works. Does that work?
Yep.
A lot better.
Okay. Thank
Maybe
you,
you wanna-
Emery.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind clicking back, maybe so we can
Yes.
see the map and the member.
Here we
or
go.
the
Okay, you
There
see,
we go.
here we go. All right, so here we go on a little bit of the background. This kind of gives you the context for the watershed starts in Cedar Rapids and Marion and flows down through mainly Lynn County, Cedar County, Muscatine County, and then outlets to the Iowa River in Louisa County. And I actually should know this off the top of my head, but there's probably close to 30 communities, I think. Between 25 and 30, I believe. Okay, so we'll move on. So watershed management authorities were authorized after the 2008 flooding in Iowa as a way to bring local governments together to be able to make improvements in watershed. And obviously at the time, post-flood, there was a lot of emphasis on reducing flood impacts, but it also is about improving water quality. And so the Lower Cedar formed really at a very grassroots level. The different WMAs across the state, and there are 27, about to be 28, really have started in different, the reasons that they've started have been different for each. In Lower Cedar's case, it was really truly a grassroots effort, and they sought out assistance from the DNR and from us to form. And you can see that there's 39 eligible members, which means, and 30 have joined, which means there's a really high participation rate in the Lower Cedar, which is really good. They got a grant to do a watershed management plan in 2019, and we completed that. The pandemic derailed a few things, but we completed that finally last summer. Okay, so a watershed management plan, and this full plan is available on the Lower Cedar WMA website, but it's really designed to kind of outline and articulate what are the issues facing the watershed, and then possible ways of making improvements, with the idea of trying to capture grant money from different sources and be something that communities, counties, other members really can utilize in their grant writing efforts. And it brings the partners together, but it also helps to provide that information and let people know what's going on in the watershed. An example of this has been the city of Durant actually asked the WMA for a letter of support. They want to do stormwater wetlands to improve some localized flooding that they have. And that is, being able to reference the plan and getting a letter of support from our organization is a really great way to improve your grant request. So the board, as the plan was winding down, the board decided that they wanted to keep things moving forward. From the very beginning, they had a pass the hat financing method where, sorry, there's a very loud individual driving their car. From the very beginning, they wanted to do a pass the hat contribution. They recognized that if they didn't have any cash money, it was going to be harder for them to get grant, to be competitive for grant, especially a DNR planning grant. So they've been doing that and kind of accumulating a little bit of local funding. And then they decided to kind of set out based on some tiered membership, based mainly on the size of the community or the county and how much of it is within the watershed. And so this was kind of the tiers that they came up with. This is an annual contribution request. It's completely voluntary. If the member wants to contribute, we're happy to send an invoice and facilitate that to happen, but it is not, it is, unless your body, the Board of Supervisors, decides to contribute, the WMA board can't compel anybody to do that. We do have some, some folks who are contributing, and it did, as I said, it was able to get that DNR grant funding secured. And then that local money is also helping to fund what Emery and I are doing. Cedar County and Muscatine County each pledged $100,000 of their ARPA allotment at the county level toward the WMA. And the purpose was to hire, to get more technical assistance and to keep the WMA moving forward. And they decided to do it in a unconventional way. Instead of hiring someone for the short term, they did a contract with ECOG for the admin, which is the stuff I do, keep meetings going, and to do a contract with Heartland Co-op to do the technical side, which Emery's going to talk about. I probably covered all these bullets because but anyway, so we're moving forward with that ARPA funding to really kickstart things, and working on some other funding opportunities. There is one that we're pursuing that I think is going to turn out to be really beneficial higher in the watershed for flooding, for flood mitigation. And we also are part of that 28 WMAs across the state that are trying to garner some statewide awareness and support. So now I'm going to turn it over to Emery.
Yeah. Good morning. I'm Emery Davis. I'm a conservation agronomist with Heartland Co-op. And like Jennifer was saying, she's been hired by the watershed to perform the admin services, and I've been hired to do the farmer outreach portion. So prior to this position, I've worked in NRCS for several years, and I also farm in Louisa County over by Crawfordsville by the research farm. So we practice a lot of these things I talk to farmers about. So I'll be wearing two hats. I'll be wearing a watershed coordinator hat, and that kind of means I'll be organizing events, helping farmers find cost share, and just hosting get-togethers to build community. We had our first meeting last week, and we had about 60 farmers come. So it was well attended. There's a lot of enthusiasm around conservation in this watershed. So it's fun to be working there. I'll also be wearing a technical advisor, conservation agronomist hat. So when farmers have questions about conservation or they want to adopt different practices, I can advise them on how to do that and how to fund those practices. I don't sell product, and we won't be recommending different products like fertilizer, chemical, or seed or anything like that. So I stay out of that, but I just focus on the conservation efforts. You can go to the next slide, please. So we do have several partnerships that we work on. We like working with the NRCS offices, but we also work with some private entities on cost share. So this cover crop cost share program is a good example of ag industry supporting cover crops. And we work with Practical Farmers of Iowa on that program. The nice thing about this program is they can stack it with federal and state cost share programs. So that's the real appeal to this one. You can go ahead. So cover crops is a big thing we'll be working on. And that helps improve soil health and water quality. The other thing we'll be promoting is these edge of field practices that reduce nitrate. So basically it reduces fertilizer loss off of farm fields. So this is a bioreactor, and it treats tile water. So generally field tile that's leaving field has nitrogen in the form of nitrate dissolved in the water. So we just are able to install these water control boxes that divert the water through a big wood chip filled trench. And then as the water soaks through that trench, the microbes basically take that nitrate out of the water. So you can go to the next slide, please. So that's one example. Saturated buffers is another example. And these both do the exact same thing. It removes nitrate from tile water. So these saturated buffers are a little bit simpler. You put in one water control structure, and then you just run a regular field tile parallel to the stream. But instead of soaking in the water, it's soaking water into the soil. So basically you're diverting that water from going straight out the outlet into these distribution lines, and then it can soak through the soil into the creek that way. So they both work really well. 95% of the nitrate that goes through the practice. And then if there's extra water that the project can't handle, it just overflows that water control box and overflows right through the old outlet. So it won't make your fields wet or pressurize the system that way. So you can go on, I think. So these both work well, and they can situate on the edge of field. There is pretty good cost share for these. The Iowa Department of Ag and Land Stewardship will provide good cost share on these. So with that, I guess I'd take questions.
I have a
As would I.
questions. We have approximately around 3 miles of Cedar River in our county because it joins with Iowa. And some of the things when we had the other supervisors on it was the concern is that on an average, I think it was 68% of the water that we get in flood time is from the Cedar. And it's a higher percentage. Why isn't the other communities along that route that was affected by that flood in 2008 into that area? Because Fredonia is where it really stops. That's our only town we have in it.
Mhm.
Where I was saying is, since that's the majority of the river, even though it changes names, I think it ought to continue to the mouth of the Mississippi due to the fact that the amount of effect that the Cedar River has to our basins. And that's some of our concern as the supervisors when we was talking about that is having that area represented through Columbus Junction, Wapello, and Oakville, the cities, because we was devastated in 2 of the cities.
Yeah.
Cedar River. So that was some of our concerns back, and we'd like to see that added. But we believe in what you guys are doing, but we just need some help in that area to understand the flows. If there's any type of possibilities to get some controllable devices on the Cedar River to stop that in the future. But that was some of our concerns, but we're less than 3 miles of Cedar River till it hits the Iowa, and then that's where the damage starts is when they come together. So that was my concerns.
Yes, and I don't know exactly what screen you're seeing, and
There we go.
I'm working to pull up, and it's way smaller than I wanted it to be. Okay, so, well, if it were bigger, this is just a representation of the entire Iowa, basically because it's the way the USGS classifies this is it's actually the whole Iowa River basin, which is weird because the Cedar is big, drains a larger area. So I completely understand your concerns. Because of the way that the classifications go and the boundaries are, and the way the 2080 agreement kind of authorizing language is set up, it's the political subdivisions within a watershed boundary that are the ones eligible to join. That's not to say that we don't want to cooperate with others. And there's several watersheds that do that. For example, the city of Muscatine isn't in the lower Cedar, but they're very interested in anything that can, make improvements because they're so close. So they don't have a seat on the board, but we do invite them to the meetings to provide input. There is an effort to develop a watershed management authority in the middle Iowa, and that's this kind of light blue part of the Iowa River watershed. And there are already a couple of WMAs in the lower Iowa. English River is one, and then Clear Creek right up here is the other. And they're just at a smaller scale. And so I guess my answer is that while I can't necessarily change the watershed boundary and any of the classifications, I completely understand your concerns. And I think probably the watershed that the rest of Louisa is in is the actual Mississippi Basin itself, by their classification again. But we are happy to include anyone who is impacted. So if you have contacts that we can just, what I'll do is put them on like the board alternate list. And so they may not have a voting membership, but we definitely want to hear from them and have their input. Does that sound like something that would work out?
I like part of it, but I still think that maybe we need to fight the percentages because I understand just the name change.
Yeah,
The impact is, it devastated 2 cities and we're still not recovered 100% off of it. And here it's been, quite a while.
yeah,
And a lot of water underneath the bridge, I want to say, but we need to do something as far as, having a seat on the board. And I'd like to have them as a contributor for voting. I know it's hard to do, but is there any way that it could be done by percentages of water flow in these areas where it affects that area? Because we basically lost a whole city out of it.
yeah.
Population about 350 people.
I will definitely take it to the DNR and see what I can do. I know that for the effort in the middle Iowa, there's a couple of unique potential members that aren't defined in the code. The Meskwaki Nation in Tama, and then also the Amana Farm Society in Iowa County. They have a lot of land, each of them, and influence in the watershed. However, they're not, because of again, the way the language was written, and they're not able to have a voting seat at the table or on the WMA. And so we're going to try and do something similar where we have them there and they do have input. And I will take this up with the DNR and see, because like I said, we asked the same thing for the city of Muscatine, if they could join even though they're outside the boundary, and we're told no. But that's not to say that we shouldn't ask again and bring that issue up. So I definitely will do that.
Well, in Muscatine County is the one that give you the 100,000 is, I think they have 15 miles, I think approximately of land that's in that area. I was just looking all this up when you was talking on that, but the biggest thing is if we can get that through to get these cities to have a person on there as a voting member, or they're at least in part of the discussions, because Cedar Rapids and Columbus Junction and Iowa, I think was the hardest hit communities on the whole Cedar River, Iowa basin.
Yeah.
And I think they ought to have a say, because it did affect them and still affecting them today.
Yeah. So what I would probably ask then is just some contact names and emails and phone numbers so that I can reach out to those folks who might likely want to be involved. And then I might also like to, if I don't already know who it is, the Louisa County Emergency Management person.
We can get you all that.
That I think might be a good place to go to. And I think maybe between Iowa Homeland Security and the DNR, I'll bring them together and see what we can do.
I appreciate that. And that's all we can ask is.
That's right.
You do to make a difference, but.
That's right.
It definitely affected our area probably more than anybody on the river. So.
Right. And actually, I'd like to be able to tell that story to the other watershed management authorities. Actually, the Cedar now is the only basin that has WMAs on its entire length.
Exactly.
So there's a WMA, there's a lower Cedar, a middle Cedar, there's a Shell Rock, there's an upper Cedar, and they're working on so that completes it. The upper, the Shell Rock, middle and lower, that's the entire Cedar River as classified by USGS. Again, that's the entire basin, and there are efforts coming together in the Iowa River Basin. And so just as we keep moving forward, I think being able to tell that story and the impact all of them have on your communities is important.
Yeah, we'll get you that information.
Perfect, thank you. I wish this map was bigger. I don't know why it's so small. Oh my goodness. Any other questions?
You can keep all your water we want, because it's on our fields when it comes down here.
Well, this also kind of might, so the lower Cedar, the funding opportunity that I alluded to is through the NRCS, Natural Resources Conservation Service, and they have a program called Watershed Watershed Flood Prevention Operations. It's a very weird name, but basically the NRCS has a method of assessing and doing a cost benefit ratio on basically mitigating flood impact. And the lower Cedar applied. And let me go to, how can I do this? Here. No, here. Are you seeing the map again?
Now,
If
you
I
see
can-
the bridge picture.
Bridge and.
How about there?
There we go.
Okay, so we applied for Indian Creek, which, okay, if you can see my cursor, this is kind of the sub watershed, and Big Creek, which is right here, both entirely in Lynn County. We applied like a couple of years ago. This past about a month ago or so, we were on a call with them, and while we didn't make the cut in terms of the large flood prevention projects, we did make the cut for watershed protection. And what this means is that these two basins will be able to apply for money specifically for this, that's, you know, within this specific program, designed to do some structural things to improve the watershed. What I hope is once we get our foot in the door with that program and start working with the NRCS engineers, that maybe we can, especially if we're talking cost benefit, obviously the damages you all suffered is probably quite expensive. Maybe there's something to be worked out there as well. So I want to definitely keep talking to them. That's kind of the beauty of this watershed work, is that you end up working with agencies and finding out about programs that you didn't even know existed, and how you can hopefully work through it to benefit the watershed. I mean, anything they do to hold back water is going to benefit you. So, you know, we want to definitely make sure that we keep all those doors open.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other question? I will also mention that the WMA typically meets, I need a calendar, typically meets, I can't remember if it's the second, I think it might be the second Tuesday of the middle month of each typical quarter. So quarters are usually like January, April, and July. They meet in February, May, and August, and November. So it's like just offset in the middle of the quarter. They have quarterly board meetings. Typically they're in Tipton at the courthouse. The next one is February 21st in West Branch. And if, you know, definitely provide me contact information if anyone wants to know and wants to attend. And we'd love to have a rep.
Excuse me, would we be able to have somebody attend that to talk? to
I
us?
was just going to ask for you guys to appoint a rep. It can be one of you, it can be somebody that you, you know, you guys could actually appoint somebody from anywhere in the county to be your rep, or it can be one of you. However you want to do it.
Yeah, 'cause I think it's something we need to work on. Like I said, I know we're involved in it, but I don't think we get a true representation of what damage and what blows has hurt us. And like I said, we're gonna be forever trying to get back to where we was at, if we ever get back. And we're just, you know, everybody's worried about a big event coming down, and we gotta have things in place to make sure that don't happen like it did.
Right.
So, yeah, I would be interested if you could send some information. I know it's just a couple of weeks away, but
Yeah.
maybe we can get somebody there, or one of us.
Yep.
there.
Yep. I will definitely send you the agenda and all that. Should I just go ahead and send it to
Sandy.
Sandy? I'll send it to Sandy.
Yeah.
The auditor.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then we'll send you all the information from the cities, that way you can get some contacts out of the cities, and then maybe we can get this where they have a say.
Yeah, I'll reach out to some state folks and see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yep. We look forward to working with you.
Yep, same here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
You bet.
Thanks for coming on.
And we, Adam, you think you can give your report in 5 minutes before we get started with these guys?
Yeah, I'll stand in.
We'll let you even.
4:10.
Thanks.
Okay, cool. So, if you guys want a person. I'd be willing to help out with that. I have a lot of experience. or
Appreciate it.
Interest in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we want somebody that really will fight. I think.
Yeah. I can be a pain about when I want to be, so, yeah, as you may know, so. Update, I guess, the bridge up on W66, they have the north abutment piles done, and actually have got it formed up and probably maybe pouring. Good week, a little later in this week, get that done, and then switch over the other side, so they're making good progress. Again, I'm saying late spring, I'm not, you know.
I don't think.
Late spring, so. So that's.
They're doing good.
That can be 4th of July, right?
Well, late spring is.
We're ahead of schedule.
June 21st, so. Anyway, that's the plan there. Crews are out, taking care of some trees and things like that. We've had some guys off, so with some issues, so falling rock and blading and things like that, well, we had a chance, so. The office, got an email last week, through the federal bill, there's this rural grant, coming up. And it's basically going after the small towns which have farmer market extensions in them. So, and looking for historically disadvantaged tracts, which is the north of the river, up the county line. To me, that means Grandview. They're looking at potentially a project where they're paving in town and taking care of utilities. And taking care of utilities, so I'm looking at joining that in town. From the interchange all the way through Grandview, fixing utilities and storm sewer and all that. And then paving around as well, so about 2.3 miles of total paving. You know, I'm working on the estimate now, it'd probably $2 to $3 million. 20% matches to this $600,000, and we can do that with farmer market monies, and probably less than the entire what we were going to do in that area anyway. Obviously, there's a lot of federal baloney that goes with it, and work to figure all that out. So
It's just a one-time deal they're just doing.
well, I don't know. There's different programs and all that, and I don't know enough about it. But I talked to one of our neighboring engineers on that board, that committee, and he said yes, it must be part of the farm market extension, which is what Grandview is there. And when Highway 252. Right, everyone remembers that was given to the county and city, that created a FM extension.
Right.
And of course, there wasn't enough money to ever take care of it and all that. And so that's kind of what we're looking at, as the easiest bang after the buck. Or easiest that would fit inside this project. So if we could get those things taken care of and get them off the maintenance list for rest of my tenure, hopefully, and that'd be a good thing. So
Excellent. That's good news.
so,
When you have to have it submitted, and when do you think?
send it out less
Friday, it has to be, or at least the request has to be in by next Monday, so.
But you're on.
Well, I had already started on the project and looking at it as an asphalt overlay and not touching utilities because of the expenses, but. It's not a lot of, it is a lot of work, but it's not impossible to convert that into a full. Taking out all the pavement and beginning from scratch and all that and taking, you know, those ditches and putting in storm sewers and making it a modern thing, which is good. Kind of what I want to do at the beginning, so. Other than that, kind of holding off on some things until we get to revenues and budget and all that stuff figured out, so. All right, any questions for me or anything? Excellent, okay, so. When that agenda comes through, if you want to send it to me, I'll.
Okay.
We'll wait to be there, so.
Well,
And if one of you wants to go
I might
to,
bring it up with you. I don't
okay,
know.
whichever one.
Who's on that board?
Brandy was.
Andy was,
So I think Sean got put on it.
so if
Which one is this?
Cedar River.
Cedar River watershed. I know Randy had some concerns that. Somehow they wanted us to be there and sign off on what they're doing, but there wasn't a lot of Wes County benefit to it, but it doesn't hurt to go and.
You heard the first part of it. We want to get more of the communities involved all the way down.
Yeah. Well, and I think the thought is we don't want to be anybody's dumping ground for water. You know, I don't remember
We
which
have forever.
one of you went to that meeting up in Iowa City, and they're, you know, basically those people were interested in flushing Iowa City out and flooding us out because cost benefit analysis and all that.
How can you do a watershed where there's no, the end goes at another river that is at a community threshold? That just don't make
The water
sense.
don't just stop there.
No, it has to go all the way to the basin where it goes out to a bigger.
Right,
river.
right.
I just don't
Well,
understand.
and you know, we've seen that what they've done is buy a bunch of ground and turn it into floodplains and all that, and there's no tax dollars
We
off
lost
it.
800 acres out here because of that cost benefit
Yeah.
ratio and wouldn't fix the levee.
Well, and we can't even get them to maintain what we have there, so, you know, if it was a park drawn in visitors and all that, it might be different, but it's not, so.
Yeah, I think with the dumping of the water, I think we ought to have a big thing.
Yeah, sure, so.
Thank you.
All right, guys. All right, thanks, if anybody has any questions.
All right, we know your number.
I've also extended an invite if anybody wants to come look at our operation, we'll provide and check out what we're doing.
Okay.
Sounds good.
It's there, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, before we get started here, let's make a motion and get that interfund transfer done here.
Make a motion to sign resolution 202311 inter transfer from opiate settlement to the general basic account. Sum of 35,000.
Yep, and I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion second, any more discussion? Yeah. If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
No, you need to sign up. No. Well, that gets us. We're a little late, but it's look. The ambulances regarding appointments and an advisory committee. Who wants to start first?
I guess I will. Jason, I shared what you sent me on what you felt was a representation of that advisory council with the board. I guess we'll seek some input on what you thought. I thought it was put together quite well. And then I also made a copy of that attached, so they had the rules and regulations. For those that don't have papers. A representative from the county supervisors, which would be one of us. The city of Columbus, Wapello, and Morning Sun. And then the ambulance person from Wapello, Morning Sun, and Louisa County. and then 2 people from industry, agricultural, taxpayers from the county, which makes a board of 9. My addition is correct. There you go.
Any more input?
I think it's great. I think it's a good start. Does anybody think it's a bad idea? You got any other ideas?
Just gotta make sure we're gender balanced.
Well,
Didn't they just away with that?
I don't know.
I think.
I haven't read the rules.
Look at legislation this year, they did away with that gender balance rule.
we'll do the best we can.
Yeah.
I mean, not exclude anybody.
Who did away with it? State?
The state did.
Well,
What's your identifier?
So do we need to go to city and ask, like Comus Junction,
You guys can't vote.
do you have someone that you want to put on this?
Maybe I'm, not excuse me. Not, I kind of need to know
Take my shoes
what
off.
the committee is gonna be doing,
Yeah, be correct.
and, is this a, you know, a lot of my councilmen, of course, are working outside of town. So I can't get people during the day, so I don't know when the meetings might be and some of that kind of stuff, so I'll need to. Just a little bit of detail to know. I don't have any problem with who you're talking about.
I think the meetings can be established whenever.
I figured they could, but I didn't know.
Financially, I guess the beginning would be. First, once the board's set up, it'd be determining. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, the amount of tax that. Needs to be levied to. Make a particular funding level. We don't know what that level is, I guess, at this point. That board will have to determine. What the funding level needs to be at to fund these 3 entities. And then. Do some quick math and figure out what it is, I guess.
well, the first decision is we're gonna fund it through property taxes or income
Income
taxes.
tax, yeah.
Well, there might not be an income tax.
It's true.
Let's see if we get that through.
That kind of stuff.
And then once that's all done, I guess the next step is. The wording to get it on the ballot for November.
Yeah, I didn't know whether the committee was to really get organized to help sell the contract. You know, again,
I would think that
kind of
would be.
depending on what
I think that's part of it.
the committee is,
Yeah.
might depend on what. Who you appoint, you know.
Yeah.
I guess
Okay.
I came down here with no name, I just was.
No, and I'm not
Yeah.
looking for that. I'm just
Okay,
trying to get the first basics. My question is, do we go to the mayors and say, all right, we need somebody from the city? You know, do you have a good recommendation? And then, of course, one of us. And then the ambulances will have to go to each individual ambulance service and say, hey,
sounds like.
we need somebody to represent
I do
their,
too.
their division.
I think go to each mayor and. For the city representation.
It'd just help. The mayors, if we kind of knew, okay, is this gonna be for an advertising campaign to sell the levy, or is this gonna be a financial deal, or is this gonna be, how do you run an ambulance service? You know, you might pick somebody different for each one of those, maybe, I don't know.
Mostly financial, from what I see, mostly financial and. Getting it on the ballot. Once we get it approved, then it might morph into something else, but. At this point, that's all we could see. That's as far forward as I can see right now. Because if it fails, then. We gotta do something different. I don't know what that is, but.
The fish fries and bake sales.
And I was asked to find out, it can be on the November city school ballot. They don't have the new calendars out yet with deadlines, but looking at the previous calendar, it looks like it would be, the latest it could be put on the ballot would be about mid-September.
We're gonna have to hustle.
To give
it.
you a-
I thought it would be.
Gonna
So,
have to hustle.
I thought it was
if, I
July.
mean, just depending on how things go, that's your time frame.
Maybe the confusing part I have on that code section is. Does the advisory council, I mean, I know that they decide how much money is needed and then they take that to. But does that, do you do that before you take it to vote? Or do you?
I would think you'd have to.
Yeah, check
Taxpayers
out
have to
numbers.
know. Is
They
it
wanna-
30 cents per thousand? Is it 75 cents per thousand?
Right, cause I think there's kind of there's a catch-22 in some of that, because if you don't go for the max and you go for 35, let's say you go 35 cents. And in 5 years, that's not enough, you're gonna have to vote on this thing again. As to where if you would vote on the 75 cents ahead of time. And give your trust in that council. To say, you know what, we really don't need the 75, we can do 40. You know what I mean? So I don't know the logistics on that personally.
The only problem with that is. A voter might choose to do the 20 or 30 cents, but they may not choose to
Correct.
do the 75, so.
Yeah, and I don't even
I
know
understand what you're saying too.
off the top of my head, some of these cities and counties would know
Yeah.
what the taxable valuation is on all that stuff, so. How much you would foresee bringing in, and I think that's one of those things you better make sure you have some of that stuff when that board's there, because that's what they're gonna need.
Well, I certainly don't. I'm not looking forward to another meeting, another group, another meeting, but. I'm very interested in this part of it, and I would. Volunteer to be the supervisor. Of this group to kind of coordinate it and get it moving, if it's okay with you two.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'm also very interested in it too, but
Yeah.
I want to make sure, and I feel that you can do the same thing as, I just want to make sure we do it and do it right.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I'm good with you doing it, but I am very interested in it also.
Let me try to. Lasso all these people and try to get them on the list and. Get a first meeting under a belt, at least have a discussion and. See if we can't make some headway here.
You think we could? I mean, about all three ambulances are here. Between the ambulances and the mayors,
All three are here.
give us a name to where we can put names to this list next week.
Please get started.
And get meetings scheduled and
Yeah, and
how we're gonna fund it, how much we're gonna fund for the,
we need to come up with a at-large person also too.
I have two of them actually.
Yeah.
I just thought that's a good idea.
It's,
I
Some
think
of
that's
Some of that came from Mike,
Yeah.
'cause, I mean,
Yeah.
been around long.
it's a good
Long time.
representation of.
And we need to do it throughout the county. We got to hit. the
It'd be a
areas.
good idea for somebody that's gonna be impacted. By the tax. To be on that board. Not to throw their hammer down and say no, but to at least, see where it's going and know. The cost benefit. How that's going.
So let's say that was having names from each area before, like Monday, before we get it on the agenda,
but yeah.
or Friday. Let's go Friday.
Friday.
Let's go Friday. Have it to her by noon on Friday. Because that's when she puts out the minutes for the Tuesday meeting, correct? Is
The
it?
agenda.
Yeah, agenda, is that noon?
We'll start with Measure Leon and our ambulance and Jim Ingram.
That way we have it on our agenda and everybody's accounted for us. And then we'll have two representations from the county.
About the Wapple ambulance, you got anybody? Want to jump up and down and wave a flag?
Mike,
Mike? I think you just got volunteered, Mike.
Mike, is he gonna be part of the city or?
One
Ambulance.
city council members of there, or mayor pro tem, what
Okay,
can do it, I'll talk to him. Find somebody to do it.
Tom,
I don't think anybody in the city's gonna,
help out?
yeah, there isn't anybody on there now that even cares whether. Unfortunately. So. Randy Ford has offered to be on the board, and, I mean, he's gonna retire today, so or tomorrow or whenever it is. He's gonna have plenty of time to, he's willing to.
well, the council could appoint him.
Yeah.
Or mayor.
Yeah,
It doesn't say it has to be.
it's a city official,
Right.
just someone from the city,
That guy, well, he's from the country,
it's area. It serves that area.
but he's interested in this, so.
Well,
And he's in your district.
and he's in an area that needs
Representation.
representation, hard to cover.
How about from the ambulance service itself?
Oh, probably me.
They're slowly filling in. So basically you need two people from outside those areas. It would be nice to get people that maybe represented the Oakville-ish area. You know what I'm saying?
End up in the Lutz area.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Let's.
For
It
the-
doesn't have a
the
necessarily a
at-large.
voice, but for their area.
Maybe we'll shoot for the Let's area.
Just throwing that out, you know.
Okay. So we got Randy as one of them for the county, right?
Randy's city.
Randy's city and one.
Yeah, I think we can get something by Friday.
We're almost there.
Be a good start.
So, yeah. Up to two cities and then two people at large.
Yep.
Well, that is. Anything else needs us to discuss?
Do you have a feel? Well, I've got a council meeting tomorrow night. If somebody else wants to take my place, I'm gonna ask.
Great, whatever.
But, probably an evening, or is this gonna be a day?
Probably in the evening.
Okay.
It'd be good.
Okay.
It, for me,
Okay.
it works better.
8 or 9 or.
Yeah.
Midnight's open, I guess, at this point. Yeah, evenings,
Yeah,
wherever we
evening.
decide to
I
have
would
this.
guess I'll start on it, but.
Yeah.
I'll ask,
That's
maybe if somebody really is.
We'll try to pick a night that, you know. Most people,
Midnight on full moon, that's the ambulance's favorite time.
they're not helping.
Well, we got to have it this week, yeah.
That's council meeting tomorrow.
Okay,
Anything else?
it's the first step. First step was to get it approved by the board. Now we're on the second step, right?
I'd like to say, I'd like to make sure that it gets out to the public, so that anybody
Right.
wants to sit there and listen what's going on.
Absolutely. That's Jim's job.
Jim's ink pens are smoking right now.
Yeah, if they're interested in this and they want to be a part of it,
It's open to the public.
contact us. Me, them, whoever.
And where would you meet at? We haven't discussed that yet, so something to think about, something centralized.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
And,
It might be a revolving,
Down here is fine with me.
might be a revolving meeting too. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, our people are more than happy to come to here.
Great, awesome.
thank you for coming in.
Next one's 10.
Okay, we can. Before Brandon gets here, we can look at the claims to get ready to approve. Well, let them.
Do you have a list of like what you had, so I can take it back and share it with our folks?
Of people?
Well, people, plus your list of who, and I didn't know those or something, yeah.
That's an extra.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, thank you.
I'll get Paul.
He's not mayor anymore. He was at one point. He's the director of the ambulance. He was a mayor.
I think I'll go over and talk to Moving Sun City myself. There's clearly a little bit of a rub there, so.
Yeah, if they want,
I think the city would be interested in.
well, it should come from the mayor, not from the ambulance person.
I mean, if they're not interested, that's fine,
Yeah, but we have.
but I think, yeah, I think that's important.
See you guys.
Okay, go straight home, Bill.
Okay.
Wow, sheriff department served a lot of notices, didn't they? Holy smokes. Is that normal?
Mhm.
Is it?
After the first,
Wow.
and then there'll be more on taxes on the March.
Yeah. Well, that is problems.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not on the list.
Find out today.
Yeah.
Well. Some of them notices are just to be on the condemnation board too, right?
Yeah.
For like,
Yeah, I hope I'm not on the list.
When is that meeting coming up?
that was gonna be like our second meeting in January, so it must have got canned, they must have figured it out. For 92 going through June.
Yeah. So they must get that all done.
Cause I remember. Like second meeting in January, I was gonna have to
Yeah. That's
get
right.
done here by 10:30
I
and
kind
go
of forgot
over
about
there.
that. Oh, no, we're just, talking about, we had that condemnation board meeting over there for the consumption thing, and it, apparently got it settled out. Hey, Nelson, we talked about last week that we need to look at that mileage that we pay out. See how far away we are from the federal,
The federal's like 65 cents.
and,
We're at 50.
and where's the state at?
Same.
Yeah, I thought the state was 63 and 65.
Yeah, we just gotta be in the ballpark. I mean,
Well, we ought to probably go up to 60 cents.
yeah. And we talked about it, but I just want to make sure that we're fair. Fuel's on its way back up.
Oh, LP's cheaper. For next fall, it's $1.30.
Oh, cause it's still $1.95.
Yeah, the truck right now is about $1.80 or 75.
Yeah, $1.95 just last week or 2 weeks ago.
Well. Yeah,
Dad had 300 gallons of them. Or 500 gallons. It's $1.95.
IRS says a 65.5.
65.5, right, in the state.
Well, that's, I put in the state. So, no, any. State. um, $6.25.
6125.
6.25 or 0.625. There you go.
62 cents.
Yeah, we definitely need to get it if we're at 50.
To fall
Well, it
with
took forever first to get it to 50.
Yeah.
so.
Be more proactive.
well, to follow the government. Slide here, red go to 60 cents.
Let's get it on agenda next week, please.
Yeah.
Then we can make that determination, but I don't know why we'd be below, but
With as many vehicles as we got, everybody, that shouldn't be an issue. I mean,
Some of us still drive our own. We're going.
well, I've
Where that,
seen that in an office. I thought about make a question here.
and then if we
like if
have
I'm going to meetings and I'm gonna be doing some other stops, I don't feel right driving a county vehicle.
same here,
I'm more comfortable in my own vehicle, at least mine.
Right, I mean,
my own insurance, my own everything.
But if I'm taking somebody with me and we're just going to the meetings and that, then I'll take the
Then I
van.
can go straight home and I don't have to go switch anything out.
And Des Moines, is a city of traffic cameras. Somebody left her low or.
Oh,
digital radio.
yeah.
Sam did.
Sam. They're still standing outside, I think. They were when I came back.
Yeah, I think we need to look at, and I think what we maybe have to do is, or we don't have to keep trying to keep with it. Now, we're gonna say that we're gonna follow the state's guidelines. Make it revolve.
Whatever the state says,
State does, we
we
set it.
follow along.
You know, some way,
Yeah.
that's the best, we don't have to make
Then
it,
you'll have to keep watching it.
yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Because sometimes,
It has to be done by resolution or what?
What?
And we follow the state, whatever the state does, we do. And then
might
we
need
don't
that,
have to-
Sam.
Yeah.
We don't have to,
That's what it was just a motion, but everybody kept asking for the resolution, so I think it's supposed to be a resolution.
okay.
So I think if we get it on there, but I think that's way down the hook.
I agree.
That way we don't have to ever change it. They can just stay compliant with what the state.
Well, looking here at the claims,
I see a lot of mileage on there.
yeah, I wonder what we pay him a mileage. You only got $1 for this one claim here.
Yeah.
Well, I know Kathy. The assessor for hers, she paid him 65 cents something. But that's what words, so.
Which that's coming up. Next Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah.
Next
14th?
Tuesday at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I think so. Just reminded me. Yeah, 21st.
And when you say the meeting was out there,
It's the 9th, Thursday night.
full Thursday. Full Thursday.
Is it next week our compensation, not compensation,
Yeah.
With
auditor,
It's next Tuesday, the 14th.
assessor,
Valentine's Day night.
assessor, yeah.
I think it might have been at 4 o'clock instead of 5 too. But I'd have to go look at my paperwork. Or it's on my phone if I'm looking. I'll look quick.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims as issued.
Last page.
It's fine.
Okay, Kathy, conference board has. It is. February 15th, not 14th, 15th,
Wednesday, next Wednesday.
and it will meet at 6 o'clock,
It's on Wednesday.
Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
I just seen your initials on something. There was a light in the F max.
Female maps, yep,
Okay, that's what I thought it was, that we need to call a,
I did call
okay,
electrician,
great,
it
fixed.
was the ballast.
Hi, morning. How are you?
okay.
And so he fixed that on Thursday for me,
So it's done.
so that is fixed.
Okay, I just saw the paperwork,
Yep.
so. We'll make sure we were.
Yep,
on the
it's
same
just the
page.
ballast that needed to be
Okay.
changed.
All right,
Start with the jail.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the claims.
Yeah. I'm just looking up. I was looking up that date.
go in January. I'm not out here.
I will second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second on the claims? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Brandon, I guess we're,
We left,
Get some.
bailed.
okay. Boy, from away.
So that was you. See, all that came up was a number.
Okay,
That was you.
yeah.
I'm gonna put you in there.
You may not want to.
You never know.
Geo and.
I figured that's who it was.
Geo and somebody else in there, and I think he went over to the courthouse on the building.
You're ready to start with us already.
We're ready whenever you're ready.
I got your
They said
brother in
you
there, but I
start.
don't have you.
I got Sean.
Yeah, or initial the top.
Mhm. Morning. Morning.
Hello.
Well,
Are we ready?
yeah.
Okay.
So actually, Sandy, can you start with the jail inspection? It's- Are you able to go to that or no? Way at the bottom. Down there it says state jail inspection. For those who don't know me, I'm Susie Garrett. I'm the jail administrator. I was appointed that position in October of 2021. And I went through my first jail inspection in 2022. In May of 2022, and the few things that the jail inspector was very kind to not really write us up for were housekeeping things that needed to be fixed and that probably should have been fixed a few years ago. The jail, if I remember correctly, was built in 2009. Somewhere right around there. I didn't work here in 2009. I started in 2013. But the jail is deteriorating, and we'll show you through the pictures on what I'm talking about. Here he wrote us up for the cleanliness and hygiene. The toilets, the wash basins, the showers, and I'll show you a couple of the showers that he was writing us up on. One of our main showers that we used in the change out room when inmates come in, to change them over, they shower. And that was the first shower that he said was non-compliant with what we should be doing. And so this, with talking with the jail inspector, made me go through the whole jail and figure out what we needed to do to get the upkeep the way it's supposed to. We are mandated by the chapter 50 code to have clean facilities for the inmates. And so I know, Sean, you weren't here when we got that inspection report, so I wanted to include it in these pictures in case you guys wanted to see it. And so if we wanted to start with the pictures now, thank you, Sandy.
Who cleans all that stuff for us?
Our inmates, we don't have a cleaner. The inmates clean the cell areas. They do daily
The
cleaning.
toilets and the sinks
Yep.
and the.
Yep, so this is walking into our visitation room. This is in visitation. Behind our main door, the green door on the left is when you're starting to walk into the jail. So we have that wall here that the paint's chipping. The next one will be also part of the visitation room. That's deteriorating.
It's moisture.
Yep, it is. This is the shower I was talking about that we got dinged on in the first. When I took the jail inspector around, I just started in the, first part we came to. This is the change out room. The gray that we see needs to be up past the shower head. And I don't know if I took a good picture or not, know if they've included the shower head. Plus the floor, at some time, the jailers were instructed to take off the epoxy on the floors with the grinder, and so they did all that in every cell. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I wasn't here. I didn't do it. But this is the first shower. You'll see that it's rusted on the right side here, rusted, rusted on the ceiling. This was the first one. And like I said, Delbert was really kind, and because it was my first inspection, he, it was an educational thing for me. And so he didn't write us up for everything. So this is the beginning. This is our change out room where every inmate goes in to change out when they come into our facility. Yep, you know, yep. Now this one's in the work release center, work release dorm area, I should say. That's the shower, and that's all for moisture. We have to keep a squeegee there because of it, the water just runs everywhere.
Where's the water coming from?
The shower. When the shower's turned on, the water runs out to this area here.
Yeah.
This is a half wall.
All right.
I'm not a professional photographer, so I apologize.
I gotta explain everything that's going on.
So, I tried, but you can continue, Sandy. Now, this is what you're gonna see a lot of. This is around just about in every cell area that we have, all the paint chipping, the rusting around where the toilets are. I think this is, still in the work release area.
The metal walls are starting to rust.
Yes, yep, they are.
There's a lot of them out there.
Now, this is not the crack that that he pointed out to me first. We'll get to that crack. Nope, it is the crack. Anyway, this is in female max, and this is a crack, one of the cracks that has to be fixed. And we're gonna see that throughout the whole facility. All these corners are cracking. You can go to the next one. It goes all the way up to the ceiling here in this one. They're not all that long. This is in one of the dorm rooms. This is how it was fixed at one time, that whatever was used, putty. I can still remove it. You can actually, if the inmate took the time, they could scrape all that out and be able to talk to the cell next to them. But I don't know how long or when this was fixed that way. It's been that way since I took over. But that literally is soft putty, not terribly soft, but it's still soft.
It's a cocky.
It must be caulking. Yep.
Just our confidence, all of us.
So that needs to be fixed because, that was one of the things that he caught me on too. And I'm like, yeah, I have to play dumb because I just started and I don't know.
Well, you're learning,
it was a learning experience. So you're gonna see, like I said, you're gonna see this around all the way. The floors, the paint chipping, it's in just about every cell area. You can continue, Sandy. There's it's another crack, you can't really see it, but it's right, yep, right there,
That's.
yep, around the windows, yep.
Yeah, they had channels that they slid them panels down.
Yep. These are, you'll see a lot of the floors looking this way. I implemented to where, I want the floors in the most, used cells washed twice a week. The ones that aren't used as often, like this one right here, there's one female in here right now. And so we have her mop it once a week. Right from wrong, I don't know. But when there's more people, there's more spillage, and so I want the floors cleaned. But us cleaning the floors deteriorates the floors.
Right, is that a curtain or a door?
It is, so that is our shower curtain. I don't know that you're ever gonna see a good picture of it. It only goes up about 3/4 of the way. You can't see through it, but we can tell when somebody's in there.
Yeah, I just see that, that's a lot of the damages.
And so you'll see every shower floor was grinded off. It used to have epoxy on it like it was supposed to.
What was that about?
You know what, it was before my time, so I can't speak for that. Like I said, right from wrong, I don't know, but every floor is that way. You can keep going, Cindy. That's just where the paint's chipping from the shower area. And you can kind of see in some of the pictures, just, I mean, this building is what, 14 years old, if I'm gonna add, 13 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and when there's not maintenance done or, you know, things fixed, everything's just gonna keep deteriorating.
Not to cut you off, you brought up to me that.
The floor, yep.
You put that plastic thing on there, so if they're taking a shower, so they won't slip and fall.
Yep.
I know, you guys do something with that, you know, granules or in epoxy. He's my epoxy guy with the precision.
I see Ed Sharon Williams on his.
Yeah.
Sure.
He's a epoxy expert here.
Well, those
so.
black mats were purchased, I don't know when they were purchased, but it was in its place. They're not the easiest to clean.
They hold a lot.
They hold a lot of bacteria. They're not the cleanest. I'd rather not have them.
Yeah.
Just for that purpose. But currently we have to so that they don't slip and fall.
And some of them shower areas have a little threshold or a bump put in it, so the water doesn't,
Oh,
you
could,
know, just a low.
Yeah.
Something there to keep the water,
Yeah, I'm sure we could do something.
We've done that.
get rid of the squeegee.
Yeah, we've done
I
that.
would love that. Because that's a weapon to us, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we really, before we walk in there, have to make sure where that squeegee's at. Which, knock on wood. We've had really good inmates, but they're just gonna just take one inmate, you know, one person that gets upset with whatever. To use that against us.
Right.
And a 1/2 inch threshold there would
Yeah.
solve all
Would
that.
solve that issue.
A lot of
Absolutely.
product out there.
So we've been up in Wapello County, Lee County, Henry County. We're down in Carthage, Hancock County Jail right now, doing stuff down there and in the showers. They had the same issue up at Wapello County where water would come out in the hallways. So we put a little, just like what you're saying, a little bump transition piece. It doesn't keep 100% of it, but it keeps 95% of
Not a
it.
trip hazard, but
Yep.
something just a barrier.
And then the epoxy we put on the floors has a kind of anti-slip
Yeah,
in it, so, yeah.
yeah, good.
That's what a shower looks like.
Well, this isn't supposed to be the Hilton.
No.
No, absolutely. I don't want to make it to where you want to come to that.
Exactly.
But we are required to give them sanitized. You know, you know.
Because I think it's bad on us to let it get,
Absolutely. I
we
mean,
have a maintenance budget. Anytime that we let a county building deteriorate, that's on us. So we gotta do, from now on, I hope it's not a presentation, it's done when it happens.
I think doing it the
I-
right way this time with the epoxy and talk more about.
And we gotta have building maintenance.
Absolutely, absolutely. We do.
Every day.
We do. And it's not, I'm sorry, but the jailers were responsible for some of this, and I don't believe that it's my jailer's responsibility to do building maintenance. One, right now, we have 17 inmates in our facility, which doesn't sound like a lot to everybody, but it is a lot for us. I'm hoping to start housing for DOC also. You know, when we get 25, 30, we don't have time to be the building maintenance people.
No, I agree.
We do not. And you'll see it in a couple pictures
It's
where,
all of us, they,
absolutely, you know. Nothing's been done with this
It's like that.
building.
creates ahead in Alcatraz, they got up.
So I'm gonna let you know that the white stuff on there is toothpaste from the inmates. Inmates would, so our air handling system, I learned a lot in the last couple weeks on that. When our air gets too hot in there, it pushes cold air from the outside. The inmates feel that cold air and feel that it's cold now. So they'll put toothpaste on there, which is what the white is, and then they'll put a piece of paper up there, which then they don't get heat or cold in there. But that's what the white is up there on the vent. But it's just everywhere's deteriorating. These are some of our doors, our windows that need fixed. I mean, it's a lot of maintenance that hasn't been done for many years. Some of the doors are rusting at the bottom. Up at the top where the food trays are, food doors, I should say. I just tried to get, you can kind of see, this is how we used to paint our doors. In the beginning, we'd buy a can of spray paint. You can see that it's spray painted. You know, the jail inspector could tell every time that we just went around and fixed what he
The
thought
day before he came.
a week before. And that was our fix, you know, back then was just, I hate looking at this door. But that's just me, because I think things should be done the proper way the first time.
I agree.
That's in our exercise yard. That also is in our exercise yard. I was just showing that I think the crack goes all the way up to the ceiling on that one. These flies, we gotta figure out how to get these flies to not come in, and I don't know what the solution is or where they're coming from. This is also in our exercise yard.
Shut the heat off, they quit coming.
We could absolutely, during the winter time, we don't have that problem as much during the summertime. Somehow they're getting in there. But again, this is in our male GP area, which is used all the time. There's always somebody in this area. And this is what the floor looks like.
It just looks like enamel.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know what they used. These are the windows that is in the male GP area. Those windows are thankfully not broken through. Here's the shower.
And them are stainless steel, so that's just,
Lime.
Yes,
calcium.
yep.
Well,
Yes.
it's the water out there.
Yeah.
hard water.
And I have implemented some different cleaning solutions for our shower areas to try and help with that situation. This is where one of the inmates had plenty of time to pick the paint off the walls. Because they have plenty of time on their hands.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see where the spray paint, you know, has
Yep.
happened on that wall. That was our fix.
The left side's a lot brighter than the right. side.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah.
We did not get estimates to redo these tables. The reasoning is because the estimate to do the walls and the floors was a lot.
Are those bolted?
Sooner or later, yes, sooner or later, we're gonna have to do these tables also, though.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's just the building's deteriorating because we don't have maintenance. That's just one of the food passes. That's, you know, ones that are used all the time look that bad.
Toothpaste.
We no longer have toothpaste. I have changed to already pre-pasted toothbrushes. They're not happy with them, but they work well, and they can't do that no more. Not only do they put it on the vents, they put it on the lights, they put it everywhere that they can, the toothpaste everywhere that they can, because, you know, they don't feel that our nightlight, they feel our nightlights are too bright. They're really not, you can't hardly see in there, but I don't sleep in there, but I wouldn't come to jail if I didn't want to have a nightlight. I mean, so we got rid of the toothpaste, so that problem's gonna be solved.
If they wanted to put it somewhere, put it in the cracks, so at least help us out a little bit.
Correct. You know, they just put it wherever they want, you know. Now, I mean, they can still get toothpaste off the commissary, but it's red, and so we're gonna know. And not everyone, you know, has money for commissary. And so we're gonna know that once the red toothpaste starts going on the walls,
Who it was, yeah.
who it was, yeah. So that's kind of the jail in a nutshell. I didn't do everything that you know. I could have taken a video for you and shown you everything, but
No, I see the trend. The point is we need to start today, figure out what we can do for maintenance in that area.
absolutely,
And we need to budget for that. I just hate to see us get to the point where we're down, then we gotta come back up, and then we go down the
Right.
tendency. Because it's, you know, it's just.
We're gonna bite off a lot of money, where if we'd have bought off a little bit. the last
And
two
it's
years.
like-
And now that the building's 14 years old, it's time to start doing a little something every year.
And thank you for recognizing, getting that, then you're bringing it towards, we're not even putting blame here, but we gotta look at our past, what we can do better today.
No, right, yep.
And
I mean,
that's not gonna work anymore.
Monthly maintenance, sometimes yearly maintenance, I mean, is a good thing.
It needs to be.
I mean, it needs to
day-to-day.
be done, you know, and I'm sorry, but the jailers, it's not their job.
No,
They really need
and if
to
a
be,
chip happens,
yeah,
chip gets repaired.
absolutely.
I asked these guys to come to explain to you what, you know, their plan would be for it. You do have two quotes, one's from Evolve, one's from Spectra. Blaine said on this side of it, since it'd be mostly subcontracted for the epoxy stuff, that he said it would be the same price as Geo was presenting for the jail side on it.
So your both precisions will be that's what, you know, I was gonna use, and I'm sure that's what he was gonna use as well. Either Burlington area, so, and he's done quite a bit, you know, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So he kind of knows the system, and he can explain to you how the epoxy and why is better, you know, any questions you guys have, he's the guy for it.
Right product.
Well, there's several things, because I'm a painter too. Automotive paint, not necessarily what you're doing, but fumes. How are you gonna, you're gonna have complaints, it stinks.
Absolutely, so, what I'm gonna try to do as much as possible is, we're just gonna do one room at a time. As soon as that room's done and the fumes are gone, then we're gonna move to the next room. We have to do something in order to move our inmates around appropriately. We do have a few females, you know, so we really have to make sure our females are away from the males like they're supposed to be. So it's gonna be a little work in progress, but I'm gonna,
What's the cure time on that paint?
Um,
It's 2-part epoxy, I'm assuming.
yeah, some of it, excuse me, some of it's pre-catalyzed epoxy, and most of it's 2-part.
Yeah,
24
24 hours?
Yeah, I mean, for a water, we like to give it a little extra couple days. But yeah, I mean, it dries pretty quick and, yeah.
Warranty?
I personally do always a 1-year warranty. But I always tell people, hey, down the road, they have issues or local,
Yeah.
want to get bad reputations.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long, laborious task.
it absolutely is.
It's, I
And
don't think we're gonna have to, I don't think we're gonna have to ship people.
I don't think so, I'm gonna,
Confidence.
as long as our numbers, currently, we're kind of up, we had some issues with our minimuses where people have been sentenced to time during COVID. They didn't come in and do their time for whatever reason. I'm not gonna lay blame on anybody. But unfortunately, we sent out about 70 warrants on these people that didn't come and do their time. These people are being picked up currently. I think once, if we get to start this project, I'm gonna ask Brandon nicely to not have our deputies go out looking for people, so that way we can get our building
I know
up
you
to.
say that, and it's just.
I know.
They tend to show up anyway.
You know what, my goal is to do the 2 bigger rooms first,
Right.
so that way we can hold more people in those 2 rooms. To get the smaller ones done. Yeah, it kind of backfired on us a week or so ago with the medical emergency. It was cluster in the jail, and we learned a lot of lessons from that day. But the poor people, the one jailer that was left in the building was very busy, thanks to the deputies. But we're all doing our job and we all made it through it, you know, but it's gonna be we're just gonna really have to work hard on moving our people around so we can get this up and going and get it all fixed, so that way we can move forward.
Was that inmate having a heart attack?
That was yesterday or
Day before?
That was
Saturday, I think, Saturday.
Fentanyl overdose,
We had a heroin overdose.
and then we had another overdose in Oakville, and then another overdose over the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have an empty building, so.
Yeah, looks good over there. It's perfect.
What was your cost repairs before we go? Is that separated or how'd you guys do?
Hers is, the jail part would be 166,974, duplicated by both involved and.
And I sent those to the email, so I can print those off.
See, we have a $25,000 budget for miscellaneous equipment and repair for the jail. And we've used in previous years, 21, 22 to use 66,227. It don't, apparently it was not on repair.
Well, we send a lot of our stuff out. I mean, I have to call contractors all the time to come and fix things in the jail. You know, like, last week I had to call an electrician to come in and change a ballast out in the female max. Yeah. Calling people out isn't cheap, you know. We've been dealing with our heaters also right now, our HVAC system. We have one that the HVAC people say that it's electricity, so I call REC, RECs come, they say it's not them. We've called our controller, the controller says it's an electrical thing. I mean, last week it was just pointing fingers, and I finally just said, something has to be done. So I mean, like, what am I supposed to do next? Now the HVAC people are calling in their electrician to come out, because they still believe it's REC's fault. They think we're getting dirty electricity.
Yeah.
I'm not a good, I don't know nothing about electricity, just so we all know. But they say we're getting dirty electricity, which is doing a power surge, which is then cutting our electricity out. Which is, yeah, absolutely. It's just,
Tracy, what part do you
Circle.
play in building maintenance up there? This is where I'm. Why are you calling for electricians and I'm just trying to get
because
this
that's
all,
what I'm told to do.
okay, I'm just trying to figure out. What do we need to do? Because this is in your job description to do all the maintenance also?
Well, I think it's under that, you do what you're told to do,
Yeah,
you know.
but. Tracy,
no,
what part do
it's
you
not.
play in this? I see you went out and did the work order, not putting you on the spot, and then you said need electrician.
Because I asked them to turn the lights on in there and turn them on. And I had no power coming from the main feed wire over to that ballast. So now that's somewhere over in the relay room or something.
All they did was they turned the lights off, he pulled the whatever, put the ballast, I stood right there. Put the ballast back up, turn the lights on and done. Put the lights, put the lights back up.
I'm just trying to.
I'm,
figure
like I
out-
said, I'm not an electrician, so I don't know.
No, and none of us are licensed to do it, so we have
Right.
to have a license to do it to keep our buildings from burning. But what I'm getting at is, do we do things different through Tracy to get people into it? That's what I'm just trying to figure out. How much have you done on the jail on the previous? Because that's his job to take care of building maintenance.
We create.
Where's
the
that
work
line
orders.
stop at?
We create the work orders
Yep.
like we're supposed to. We put them on his full clipboard.
Yep.
And then he tells us if he
Here's
can
your
do
work
it or if we have to call somebody. And so then if we have to call somebody, then we have a list of people that we call.
I'm just trying to make it easier. I'm not trying to be difficult, but I'm trying to get where this is a lot. You're trying to
is,
run
absolutely.
jail. And I'm just trying to get this separated building maintenance. Because we can't let this happen again.
No,
And so, but we can do is change your ways that we're doing it. And I don't think apparently there's not enough in that budget.
No, and
Well, there
you
might
have to
have
look
been.
at other problems, like the water heater went out, we had a garage door
Yep.
playing. Another pipe, all the pipes burst and everything out there, you know, we had to put a whole new heater in, I think there's another garage door. So, yeah, that budget's gone, that can be gone in 2 days.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, I don't think there's enough in that budget.
Because if you take 166,000, and then what has it been, 12 years that it's been in, if you divide that out, there's not enough in this
I don't
budget.
wanna do it.
So that's something we need to look at next year.
I think you're very safe if we just got it up to where it needs to be, to look at to budget something and hold it every 5 years. Every 5 years, you know, we go back in and fix anything that needs to be fixed. I don't know
I
if
think
it needs to be yearly, but we still need,
Yeah, I
we still
think
need a budget, but.
You know, we need to have an inspection to walk around and see what's going on. Although we do cell inspections every week.
Yeah.
Like every week, we're in some cell or another. It's not, we don't have certain days because you have to keep everybody on their toes. Every week we go in and do a cell inspection. And they tell me, you know, this is paint, this is chipping, this is this, and it's been that way for a long time. Cause I've looked back at previous years.
Oh, this just.
And absolutely, it didn't just happen when I took over, thank God.
Yeah,
You know?
We did start this back September, October. So
Yeah.
we just had some problems getting some quotes and bids on everything here, but. You know, it did take a little while to get these, but we were kind of on it last year and we're up to this point now.
It looks like to me, just by math, 15,000 a year is what building maintenance is required more of, so that would take your budget to 30 the following year, but I'm just saying. It's no matter what it is, if it's 166,000 in 12 years, you still gotta divide it out. If you did this every year, it'd be additional about 15,000 to get, you just don't see much.
Just general maintenance.
If you could get the rooms on a rotating basis, like, okay, this year we're gonna paint this cell.
Yep.
And then the next year you repaint
Stay
that
up on
cell, and you just keep working your way around. all
That's where I was saying about 15,000 just to keep up on general maintenance.
All you
That's
mail
something we can-
GP.
That's something we can absolutely do.
That's an internal thing with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Once
The
you get
mail
to that
GP is
level.
one that's used
Truthfully,
all the time.
there might be 5 years before they need to start the rotation.
I hate to let it go then. Because I worked at the jail here, I was dispatcher, worked here, I've been involved in this. And every prisoner you get in there scratches their name.
Absolutely.
So-
How many takes they got to do?
Yes.
Yeah,
And that's the stuff that needs erased. every
it
time.
truly is happening.
Yes.
What happens on TV
It's
truly
5
happens.
years, it's too long. I've got experience in it. It's just too long.
So I know we talked with Susie about doing, you know, like once a month, spend 3 hours, do like a meeting. She makes a list out, whoever you guys hire, this is just an idea. Hey, this cell, this one, come in and fix this wall, just like like you guys are talking, a maintenance program. But it might take half a day or whatever the case may be, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, you know, once a month, like we were, you know, what can we do to keep up with this?
Yeah.
And I know, do you do stuff like that as well sometimes? So there's something to keep up with it, I'm sure.
So that was the jail side. Any other questions for these guys on it? The other side would be our side, the complex side of our offices here. I can go through it here. So this is just the main hallway and the lighting. It's just continued issues. These are all different lighting systems, balances in here. A couple are LED, most are absolutely not. This is the way they were put in going down our hallway. Again, they're all different. They're all broke. Different, like an LED here, regular light here, burnout, bad ballast, different type of lighting, flat ones here, broken ones here. And flies and bugs and everything in them. This is just going down our main hallway here. One of the problems we had last year when we had all the systems put in, the uni vents, is the old ones got taken out, but there was no plan to come in and fix the areas where they got taken out. So you can duplicate this issue in just about every single room out there. They got an AC unit, again, going through the ceiling and everything there, the tiles, nothing's been replaced on that. Same thing with the old units coming down, drywalls, you know, not been fixed, needs to be patched up here. That's a brand new unit due to, you know, broken tile and everything on the main office side. These are old fans that you turn them on and feel like they're gonna fly off and hit a deputy in the face or something there. They just plainly and simply need to be replaced. And the fix-it plan for the ceiling tile in the main deputy's room was, it appeared that somebody took a roller and just painted like every single thing, painted the tiles with paint, painted the the grid system on everything here, they stick together, they break. And it's more of a visual thing here. Again, these lights, like we talked before, none of them are LED lights. They burn out all the time, have problems. Just a room of some patchwork here, just different colors, different things going on, burnout lights. Like this grid system was painted green for some reason, and then there's different color tiles put in everywhere. Just to show the differences, and this is a bathroom, things are rusted, things are, again, all different colors. Some of the water issues and everything that we've had, one from the vents, two from the actual ceiling of leaking through. This can be manipulated going through the entire whole building, every single rooms has water leaks in it. There's some more if we can continue. This is again the main hallway. There's primarily too much insulation on top of it.
It's roll up insulation, so it's over time, the tiles are sagging and just falling apart.
It's popping all of them out, it's breaking all of them, stuff's coming down off of them. So one of the, under the plan here, it would be to take all this out and do spray insulation with sealer. That's going to seal all your leaks. And again, this is every single room on our entire side. And then we talked about trying to raise up the tile to get it a little bit more square, maybe even bringing the roof level down to the same level as the deputy's main room, as the new room, and get rid of this slanting type. But there is pipes that go along here, so you can't really go that far up, but you can just straighten it out instead of having that issue with all the lights sideways and all the different issues going on there. Again, just to cut out lights, tile not properly being fixed is kind of a makeshift issues of just bending that. It looks, a few of you's been on a tour with me out there, it just looks terrible. We're having a lot of groups come out now to our Sheriff-Sophigan meeting, especially with the new room. It's just these lights, for some reason, electricity doesn't work for all of them. We've not been able to figure out why, but none of the running lights will work going down the entire hallway. Again, more and more water issues, just continuous. I think sealing the ceiling and sealing those areas would solve those problems.
It's a condensation.
It is mostly.
Yeah, it's not a roof leak.
It's some of them are roof leaks, so
I think it's because of the cold airs in that ceiling and that dew point.
Again, the different colors, different rooms and everything here. It's all, some of them are pink colors, some of them are green, some of them are hunter green. It's just all kinds of different colors throughout our side. Again, just fixing the issue with the wrong tiling, not getting things cleaned up. Again, the insulation's pushing everything down and out because it's just to fix issues of heating. I don't know if it's just stuffed up there, but it's causing way too much weight. Again, throughout the whole side of our
With that
complex.
insulation, condensation is obviously soaking up the insulation.
And once insulation gets wet, it's forever wet.
It's
Right, yeah.
And that valve's installed upside down. Them type of valves, you can't have the particles into the bonnet of the valve, or you're gonna have leakage, and that's what that.
There we go. There's another issue.
Yeah.
I appreciate that so close to that service disconnect too.
It kind of shows you there's a water issue there. It looks like that packing plant might be spraying out.
And again, it could be, due to some bad water.
Oh, no, okay, yeah.
It's just a
Be a little bang, it wouldn't be a big,
We get tired in the middle of the night. Be fine. Again, I can't explain some of this stuff. It's before our
It's the
time.
laundry room, and I don't know why half of it's painted and half of it's
Just
not.
ran out.
I'm guessing they ran out, or somebody just was tired.
They
You'll have
were debating on that. color.
Or maybe they
decided
really
not
wanted, yeah,
to.
I don't know. Before my time again.
Like an idea, we put a little.
Yeah, little color spots.
This year. I only wanted to show a
There's our
comparison.
room.
Yeah, so this is a brand new room that we got last year. Evolved did this room here. Now that actual color in there is an actual tan. What we have on the outside, due to whatever reason, it looks like it's a urine colored yellow. And you guys have been out there and you see it throughout. People talk about it.
County home yellow.
County home yellow, and it's, just, that's the way it looks. Again, this picture shows the different colors of tiling and everything, how they're broke, different colors on everything here. The handrails, they just need to be removed under the plan. Those would be removed and they'd be patched up with concrete or epoxy or something and be painted over. Call lights would all be taken out. The nurses had their own room down there. We actually remodeled that room ourselves for a supervisor room. But all that stuff would be taken out to make it look like conservation and public health, to make it
We took them
appear
out of the other. areas.
just like theirs is primarily what we'd be asking to do, just to look like their side, to be more appealing. And like we have a lot of people at our office now, we don't want it to look like this. It looks very, very poor. A couple more here, just showing the differences in painting. There's been touch-ups on painting there, everything there. I think they tried to white at one time. Same things as the probation room. So again, all the rooms are like this with the new vents that are in. Again, just showing the lighting there, the differences here. That doesn't work. All it does is leak. You can see some of the where it has leaked before. So kind of ruin the floor there that we talked about. Having that just completely removed, having something in there where we put the AED first kit. Now this type of leaks and stuff again, and all the different rooms, this is probably from the roof because there's no vents at all in here. So again, sealing that roof and getting it spray foam. And again, this is my office in particular, again, and too much weight's pushing some of it's just pushing the tiles out and they're breaking, busting. This is the outside. Some of our doors are pink for some reason. They need to be kind of, I think we all need to be on the same page of having that hunter green, just like all the other sides of the jail in our facility. So we asking to paint the doors that hunter green going all the way around to the other side of the cafeteria, right where public health meets. And again, they can have whatever color doors they want, but we'd like to keep all of ours the same color. Same thing with the maintenance room there is into that pink. These are faded or possibly needs to be washed out. But if they're not washed out correctly or they would be painted again, that same, you can see the difference in the colors there, the greens. We want it to be the green there in the top. Again, just showing that's a brand new door. That's the color it should be. The top's the color it should be, and all these doors on the other side of the jail and our complex all just need to be repainted. Pillars are starting to rust out. They just need to be repainted again, matching that same color and make it look nice. But some of those, I didn't do tons of photos, but you can just take some of those photos, especially the event stuff and the waters and the broken tiles. That's in every single room if you just go all the way down. And I think there's 15 rooms, I believe, altogether. I think one is actually missing in here. So what we'd be asking on our side is get all the ceiling tile replaced, put all LED permanent. I think it's a 10-year lighting. There's no bulb. You put them in. They're 2x2s. They last for 10 years. I think there's warranties pretty good on them too. So all new ceiling tile, paint every single room in the entire side. And do the spray insulation and seal it on top of the roof there. And if you want to do something with the actual roof in the future, then you kind of have 2 layers of protections the way I would see it. Any questions about that? Primarily, we just like to see it a lot better shape and for it to look like conservation, public health side is. We do have 2 quotes on this one. One's from Evolve and one is from Spectrum.
One is spray insulation. Was that, what R factor was that? Was that close cell up against the ceiling?
Yeah, so we would do our, what you get, our 7 per inch, so I think we were thinking 5.5, if I remember right. And with that, you get a water rodent resistant thermal and vapor barrier. With the spray insulation, air quality, it's obviously more, and the structural obviously tightens everything up on your decking that you have. So we get a lot of stuff that we spray on,
But it's pretty low for the ceiling. R factor wise.
5.5, which we could do more. That was just something that I put on there.
Yeah, because in this part of.
Right.
Fire, we should be at 50, 60 yards.
And I think, well, I don't know if I put it on there, You know, if we go 5 inches, 7 inches, what our value, that's something we can decide, you know, okay, we want our 30 over our 50.
Because I think that installation's, I think it's R30. I remember seeing that when we had the ceiling tile out. Tracy, you remember, is that R30?
I believe so, yes.
And I know that's probably the condensation problem is insulation don't fit tight together. You get cold air above it, then you get dripping, but you're gonna get water with the moisture in the building.
So again, I don't know some of the history, but probably in 2008 or 9, I think that side was probably just painted and that was probably it, nothing else. Nothing else was done at all on it.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering too, with the couple episodes we had just recently with the exploding pipes because of the maybe we need, let's see that one valve, but they all put them upside down. They're all just waiting to be blown out because it's wrong. I could put that, well, the gate valve. The gate valve is always supposed to be it for it empties that bonnet out. Or you get the buildup in it and you blow the threads off.
I think we could get that fixed immediately. Tracy's willing to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only thing I would question is the spray foam, R35, if we're doing something on there. I'd like to see us get the biggest bang for a buck while we're doing it to get it where. It's instant recovery of our bills, I mean. We see what happened over at the courthouse when we changed the windows. It actually dropped our budget by, I think, 20,000 on the heating. So if that's the case, you might see an instant savings out there.
Well, yeah, with the new unit vents, with the new boilers in this.
Yeah, you're not talking much more to get to the highest efficiency, yeah.
We've got R35. In the spray foam, 5 inches.
That R50.
Yeah,
I'm doing house.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with it.
Yeah.
When there's,
It'll save money on the heating bill.
because the jail one, it was combined, correct?
The jail one, Blaine said that it's the same price as what Geo presented for the jail side. Now, our side is different. There's probably no subcontracting involved. You want to different value in the spray foam than that price.
I'm trying to pull up right here, the different R values and price difference. So
It's per inch.
it's per inch, no, I can forward it to you. I can tell you the deal, this is.
And I respect both contractors, they get my full respect, but I think with what we did with the. I think we're gonna have to put it out to the paper, I think we're gonna have to. Do that, we just did it on our air conditioning out there that. And. You got your bids, but I think we still gotta put it on the publication. It's a big project.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
I think it'll get us to a point where we can continue to do maintenance. It'll be much easier to do.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna keep running into problems if we just do it right the first time.
I think it's not a conversation we need to take outside of here, how we're gonna do this, once it's fixed,
I agree with that.
I want a plan.
Sure.
Brandon, when you guys are talking about putting LEDs, that going over on the jail side too?
My interpretation is that they're mostly are LEDs, but
No, we're switching them over to LEDs.
Yeah.
Are you doing that in your general budget? Is that? how you
Yes.
done? Okay.
Yeah, that is not included.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
not,
In the year.
You know, if we could get that, REC is not doing it right now, but we had the same thing in courthouse and they came over and they gave us a grant to do it. and REC don't do it, but that was a line. So that's what I was trying to do on that.
to switch them. to
Yeah,
LED.
LED, and we had them do the whole courthouse, and then they give it a warranty, and they supposedly, we haven't had any failures to my knowledge. But they 10-year warranty where they come and replace them and stuff. like
Yeah,
that.
I thought it was 5 year, wasn't it?
I don't know.
50
Had a
thousand
warranty,
hours or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
but no, you guys are doing a great job, and reason I'm being so critical, I just want to make sure this don't happen again.
Yeah, me neither.
And I like where you guys have pointed out, and Brandon and I have been through this tour, and it needs to be done. This was a care facility that we just didn't do anything about, we just put a little whitewash or green wash or whatever, yellow wash.
Yellow, I think is.
Yeah, as a common theme. And then, but we just gotta have a plan in place. I don't know, maybe we need to look at expanding where somebody's, that's a maintenance item and somebody's looking over it besides yourself. I know you're busy trying to do,
That'd
the
be great,
gym.
because I don't know much about maintenance.
so we need to
I truly don't.
look at this in the future. I don't know the answer, but
Yeah.
we gotta do things different.
So, and with the maintenance issue, would it help if you and Tracy talked daily or?
But when we come up with an issue, we just do a work order. I mean,
Well, you know, or,
so I think moving forward, after all these issues are fixed, then yeah, we need to have. I think a monthly, if something starts cracking or whatever, we need to start working on it today and not 12 years from today.
Yeah, or if you see an inmate that's left and had multiple, in that time, because it's hard to prove somebody did it unless it's all
Absolutely.
new. But
Yeah.
once you get it new and an inmate
I mean,
leaves,
unless
see
they
it's
put their
right.
name on it, once they write their name, we pretty much know who did it.
Yeah.
You know,
And that could be
most folks don't do their names,
destruction.
you know.
still got
Absolutely, yeah.
toothbrushes, you could just hand them a bucket of paint too. Or maybe a baby food jar or something.
Yeah, there was an inmate that wanted to paint.
Not everybody's a professional painter.
No,
No,
I think it would.
I don't think this is the way to
I
go.
don't think so either.
No, I think we need to have it like it's epoxy. We got a guy, I deal with Sherman William. And it's a great, but we need to have somebody that knows how to use their product, because you can put it together. If it's a 2-part, and you mix it wrong, the product's. gonna-
Well, and if, we're using the wrong cleaning solution, I need to know that, because currently we're just using bleach and,
Yeah.
Babalo sauce.
Right.
It'd be interesting to know why that stuff was ground off the floors though. Would the jail inspector have any input there?
He did not,
He didn't, okay.
he did not.
maybe it's just so bad it was killing cats, I'd like he did or something.
What, right on the floor? Yeah, jailers did it.
What
Why?
was the purpose?
Don't ask, they was doing it just before the jail inspection, then they was going in and painting it.
My guess is flaking off.
It never got painted. If they just
They weren't-
grinded it off and left it that way,
Must have been the same person that painted that one room.
maybe,
Hold on.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I
I
have no
don't
explanations for
either.
things, I,
Yes.
Yeah, it's all before your time.
it is, and maybe someone else does. But
That epoxy can get kind of thick, and if you get it off and you get it sharpened up on one side, you can cut somebody with it.
Maybe that was the
It's-
reason.
It's,
maybe
it
that's
could
the
be a
reason.
weapon essentially.
Well, we'll put this out for bids and
I think we have to.
use our COVID money. to-
Does that mean that he needs to rebid it then, or is?
We need to get specs together.
Yeah. We need to have.
So everybody's doing the same thing.
To bid on the same thing. I'd like to have the building insulation, a minimal of the R50 in the ceilings. Because we're gonna go put double pane glass. We're trying to get this and just ain't gonna cut it to 35. We gotta be at minimum 50. So I think we need to look at that, and then we need to look at too, maybe have somebody come in and look at our plumbing, make sure it's good. Because this is the worst thing could happen. We get all this ceiling tile, then we have another catastrophic event, which we're going to have. Because our water is terrible as far as acidic. We have copper lines. I think we need to look at getting something different in there that's not acidic to that. We're having the same problem with just this area, water. But we need to look at that, because whatever fix we do cosmetic, the internals, the guts of the place is gonna ruin it. And I've seen how that valve's installed. I've seen the other valves in the ceilings are all upside down.
that needs to be changed.
Sure.
The integrity of our copper, we need to look at, maybe looking at a plumbing project to make us long-term. I just hate to put all this money into this building and then have this old plumbing that's 6 years old, failed.
Yeah, and a majority on our side, complex side, I don't think there's any piping going through the offices, and everything's
Down the hallway.
down the hallway,
So
so.
it will be the bathrooms and stuff.
It'll branch over. And then we look at, cause that needs, all the piping needs to have insulation on it too, cause I think a lot of the dew is coming from the different temperatures.
Some of it, most of it does.
So I think we need to look at another aspect a little deeper. That's where I'm looking. Is we need to look at the guts a little bit more.
Up in the ceiling, but not on the pipe.
Could you work with the great people you have to come up with a spec? And then, and within mind, we have to look at the plumbing aspect. I want to do this thing right. I know we got the people to do it right, but I want to make sure that we look at all the i's and t's and get them all crossed and dotted.
Yeah, and I think it quite honestly be much easier if that whole hallway, if everything is tore out, everything. So you're able to just.
And that might be a small project to do prior to bidding, where we can look at the guts. I would be good with that, to allocate money to get that project done, so we can
tear that all
see what
out.
we're looking at. The only thing is we gotta figure out, maybe this is something we do in April. Because of
When
the
it's warmer.
warmer, but we have to look and see what's in there, because we're gonna miss something if we don't have it opened up, but that plumbing needs to be updated. That copper and all that piping, it's beyond its years of use.
Yeah.
We got hard acidic water out there like we do everywhere else, and let's do this right. I know these guys can make it look beautiful, but if we have a leak, it's all gone.
That was to make sure we're sealing the roof up and get everything water.
Yeah, make sure there's no leaks in the roof.
I don't want something new, and, yep, here we go, we got a leak. No, I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
I want it to look nice. Yeah, is that something you want to authorize today? To
Well,
tear that whole hallway out?
We need an estimate.
Okay,
And once you get the estimate, maybe next week we'll get it on agenda, what it would take to open up. But we still have to look at the weather in mind. It has to be after a certain point where the weather, but I think we need to open it up, see what before we do surgery, I want to open it up, do exploratory, see what we have to do, bring people in. And then, I'd rather spend a little bit more money now than have to come back.
We don't want to tear all the insulation and ceiling out, and hit a month worth of 30 below zero weather.
And we, in our air conditioning and our heat and stuff, I want to make sure that all we're venting in there for plumbing, that is sloped right for the water don't drain back, because when you're pulling your vents and if somebody takes a shower and don't use the vent fan, or the vent fan's broke, you're gonna get water coming back down that tube. So we just need to open everything up, make sure the terminals are good. I'm good with it.
But we still could go ahead with specs and bids on the jail side.
yeah, they're plumbing, with exception
Our
of
plumbing is-
Sallyport,
right.
and that's fixed.
And Sallyport was
Theirs,
just
theirs,
fixed last
theirs,
week.
theirs is very nice. I don't,
And we're getting here, I'm hoping that doesn't
Separate.
happen again.
You can keep them separated.
yeah, that's why we did it. It's why we
can
didn't
do
do that. Very honestly,
But we can still go ahead with the first project.
absolutely.
As
And then,
soon as we get specs and. In
Jim,
2
you
weeks,
don't-
get open bids.
you don't have it broken apart, do you? And hallways this much money. I know you,
We still got something.
No, I can, I can give you the demolition part of that ceiling. Fairly quick.
No. Oh, I think it's a great project. Anytime we can fix your buildings up or assets, I'm with you.
good.
I just want to make sure that we get our big bang for the buck. I want to do it for, it's
Yep,
forever good.
I want it done the right way.
Yeah.
First time.
We're already at 270,000. I mean. We can spend another 30 or 40 and do it right with the plumbing and hopefully prevent goofing up what we just done.
I fully agree with you. So you need 2 more bids for the tear out and examination.
Needs to be published.
It does need to be published. So what, just so I know in the future, what, before we were getting 2 bids for everything but now we have to publish?
Well, that's the right thing to do. And
If it's over $6,000, we publish it for 2
we're
weeks
supposed to.
and have a bid opening.
Gotcha.
And we've not always done what we're supposed to do, but we gotta start doing it.
All right.
So,
And at this price, it's even over the state threshold. So.
and that way, but what we can do though is do a couple bids on opening up to see what we got after it warms up. I'm good with that because that's kind of a break in the cast and see if it healed yet, so. But then once we get in there, cause it's gonna be big, we're gonna have to get a plumbing side or, you know, I know you guys can do it, it's straightforward, but I think we're setting ourselves for failure if we don't. But no, I appreciate you guys doing it and your heart's good, but we want to get this building out. I'm behind you.
I mean, I don't know when my next inspection is gonna be. It was in May of last year. It could be anywhere from February to whatever, but as long as, I hope that as long as we're working on it,
Yes,
you know, he'll be good with,
Yeah.
you know, the stuff not being done.
yeah, and I think
You
that's
know, and
our intent.
at
is
least
to do
we're
it.
working on it and we're not just sitting on it.
Right.
You know, so he knows, and he said that to me.
And it might be something to reach out to him that we are working on fixing a lot of this and bringing it up.
And
to-
yeah, I am gonna let him know, you know, once he reaches out, because he calls me like 2 months in advance before he'll come to
Excellent.
our inspection.
Yeah.
You know, and so, yeah.
So we still,
But they'll
still
know
need
all
to open
that.
up the jail side for publication then.
Oh, yeah. And then work on this other. As we get it opened up.
Yeah, I'll get a couple more bids and then anybody else that wants to bid publicly can then, is that how we want to do it?
Yeah, cause it'll open up it goes out, you'll have people calling you from East Africa trying to come over here and do some things on there. Yeah, I think when we had one out there at the complex, the painting, we had people calling us from New York. And what it's about, but. No, but at least we get it opened up, maybe get something together next couple of weeks, whatever your guys' timeline, I know everybody's busy, but. Then we can get it opened up and get it on the agenda, has to be to her by noon on Friday. I'll get it on the schedule for on.
We might be able to have all this, everything broke down, so. See what we can do.
Thank you, and
Yeah.
thank you for wanting to fix these up.
Yeah, thank you guys.
We keep doing business as usual and there's stuff. That we don't.
I hope to get this done and not come visit you guys for a long time. So,
Well,
Hold you to it. Yeah.
I'm not promising that.
I'm gonna try.
Because this last year has been, everything's breaking, so I'm not promising nothing.
yeah, I own the same thing, it breaks all the time. Used to come in threes, now it's eights.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can go on with that. I can get that was next time for me, but you guys are good.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You guys appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
You just want to get a quote from me to tear that all out.
Yeah,
That
I'll
whole-
do that too.
Thank you. See you guys.
Sounds like the county needs a good maintenance man. Somebody that can change the ballast.
We were all thinking it.
Oh, well,
You know,
this is disgusting. That's nasty out there. How the other buildings look in the county.
I hope not like that.
Ah,
And that's, and I don't believe it on anybody, but I just. We kind of hope that the maintenance money we had is being allocated to do that. Yeah, I go in the courthouse, but I don't go in the cells, and I hope I never get where I have to go in the cells quite a bit, because that means I was on the wrong side. But,
I don't know, some days it was kind of appealing.
It's definitely cheaper.
Bed, nobody bothering you.
But only we can do is fix and go forward.
You guys are due number 12.
Yes, we did.
Do you have any? You understand where that's going? Okay, there was some confusion on it. I had Selena call me the other day, but hopefully get this.
Parsons has told us, you know, kept us in the loop probably since July.
I think her confusion was just how to word how the fund was.
Where
set
it was
up.
going to.
Yeah,
It's going to supervisor slush fund.
Slush.
We can't roll things.
This is where we're gonna have our meetings at.
That's why, the jail.
So next week's in Bahamas?
We can zoom in, they can zoom in, we'll be down there.
Yeah, with the history's going on in the last three weeks, this money is needed to get some things.
So we've had 3 Narcan uses in 3 weeks,
I know.
and we knew it was coming eventually. But it's here.
And what I worry about more is our people out there. doing it.
Absolutely.
Because if you touch a dusting of it, it'll kill you.
That's what the new machine,
Dusting.
the guy's coming from New Jersey to go over that new drug scanning machine.
One pinhead will kill a person.
I was always worried in towing, when I
Yes.
towed their cars.
Especially getting around the wheels.
And I get in and out of those cars and
Or rolling a patient over,
I'd get to the shop by myself at 3 in the morning and
and you're done.
nobody's
It's
there.
almost mandatory when we test something that there's 2 people around. And
Yeah.
that person goes down, and that's sad. It's
It's like that.
It's bad.
We went through the whole training in the fire department and the gloves is the only thing that worked. Yeah, because you can rub your face. We all have a
Yeah.
tendency, when we got gloves
Yeah.
on, we don't use
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too, every bit of equipment that you guys are going for. I like how you're always updating, but we
We
gotta
are.
stay on top of it, because
As soon as we get the check in, Norcross will be ordering it for every single officer in the entire county. We'll have gloves and needle containers, and then we'll do the not buy back, but taking drugs, take back.
I don't think
And
it's a
March.
matter of if you'll use them, it's a matter
It's
of
when.
when you're gonna use them.
Oh, like I said,
Yeah.
3
To
times.
say it that way.
Do you clear the scene before volunteers come in? How is that gonna work?
No.
Now it's not a hot weapon. Now it's a possible drug, and that's something we gotta look at. too.
Medical's been there first,
Yes,
They
all the
probably,
time.
they probably need to wear gloves that will stop it for a while, which is like mostly latex, medical grade. And then they need to probably wear masks because it's also getting it inhaled.
And then we gotta look at clothing.
So they're getting
They
it,
take it
are they
home.
getting it into the jail?
Well, the person swallowed a baggie before coming in.
Before coming.
And she had a overdose 12 hours later, which threw us like, how's this happening?
Yeah, right.
How's this happening? How are you overdosing?
12 hours
later?
after,
You could be withdrawing.
wow,
Baggy plastic broke down stomach,
wow.
fentanyl, crack, heroin.
Mm.
Both your overdosing. And then the nurse was there luckily with us and Narcan that person multiple times.
And luckily it worked.
Luckily it worked. Oakville didn't have Narcan on him on a call, and a deputy had to, I said, grab Narcan. He grabbed it, and took it down there, and it took 2 doses to come out.
Wow,
So it's
Mm.
yeah, it's not
it's a
good.
bad deal.
It's here.
It's here. So
Scary. It's made to tranquilize them. It's not kill people.
yeah, car fentanyl is, and that killed a resident here. Car fentanyl killed a resident. So that was years ago. That was kind of before we were hearing about it. So it's terrible stuff. Pretty much stops your heart, starts your nervous system.
So what am I looking at here? Not to change the subject.
Oh, with Sandy?
Yeah.
This
New
is
guy on the blog.
the first page is that max levy sheet that has to be published first. And the city had to do that also. And the one at the 9.21314 is what the levy currently is.
All right,
To give you an idea of using that levy for the current budget that we're working on for FY24. And then the 9.68072 was what it had been for years. That it was lowered to this other because of the mental health. Remember, we had all that discussion previously. Because the mental health went to the state. So that the tax levy for them went away, so. It just gives you the numbers. Of what the second page there shows. The property taxes levied for both of those tax rates.
So we're currently at what rate?
9.21.
Okay. What do we have to go to?
With the budget that we've
Right. that we
worked on,
kinda-
what's our need?
Yeah, right. That's that's my question.
The 9.6. 8 brought in another 400 and some $1,000.
The service area. 0. Which should be, I think, the last page in your packet,
On which one?
on either one of them.
Okay.
Like the second row from the bottom shows a total ending fund balance for June 30th. But remember, this includes that ARPA money. So it's kind of inflated. And I've highlighted the yellow for the rural basic because I stuck the numbers in there because Adam is wanting to move up to that 90%. And that's what's in there. To show you that that's not a possibility.
So if we go with the 9.21. Spend all of our ARPA money. And do what we've budgeted. July 1st of 24, we'd be 422,000 in the red.
430.
432. What, yeah,
Well, no, that's the rural,
or just for rural.
that's rural basic. And that's just like the rural basic, that some of the sheriffs and what goes to secondary roads. And the library, well, the libraries doesn't count because we pull that from loss.
Right.
And a few other odds and ends things come out of rural basic.
The other ones are in the
But
black.
that's the 90% for secondary roads, so.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be,
Don't have to be that.
I just,
No, we can stay at the
75.
75 and still be there. And where'd you figure that different than 75?
I don't have it in here, but I can do that and send you.
I think we're gonna have to see the 75 because we're either one of them we can't do.
Well, we have to do 75, so.
I know.
Whether,
That's what I'm
And
saying.
it always-
that's-
We've always done.
and then we just pull the extra out of general basic,
Yeah, exactly.
so.
And then that way it'll show the bottom line of,
The 75 is, that's what we have to do, and
yeah,
it's
that's a
not,
minimum.
it's a moot point.
But you got this all figured at 90, am I correct?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, we could just do the math and see what it would look like.
And I think you're gonna have to raise rural basic.
Yeah, I agree.
I hate to do it, but
But
the state did it by lowering those valuations that one year so much. It just put us in a hole with rural basic. And we want to get this published before they decide anything at the legislature, because once we have it in the roll, no matter what they decide,
What's
we can.
going on with that bill?
They're trying to make it retroactive to whatever year.
Well, if you get it published, what? It won't have to abide by that.
Okay.
well, let's get it refigured for the real basic before we get that number and see what we're at on that. Then I think we can get it done there.
So
Let's get that on there. If we got actual numbers.
okay, hold on.
No, I'm just talking to the other guys.
I emailed the state link.
Cause that way it'll give us a accurate. And I understand that we need to look at that, but I don't know.
We see what number we got, and then we can change it accordingly to what it is. Might go 80. Might leave it 75, wherever it's at.
Well, you have his budget. So I need.
Right here.
Oh, he's got that big, his is not in this. It's in this other one.
Yeah, in that binder.
Okay. You want the 75% figures? I got that.
Not gonna be it. It's not just the one step.
I know.
I think I got a meeting that.
Leaving the party?
Yeah, I got something to do. I'll see you tomorrow, right?
You bet.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Okay, so without changing, that puts it down to a negative 135,895. Let me make sure what
Right.
rate we're at.
That's a better format than we're getting here.
That's at the current, then I thought I left it at the 9.21314.
Okay, let's go up to where we was at.
What do you mean?
The 9.
968.
6.8.
Give me away my magic wand.
I'm sorry.
No, you. What you've done there looks like you waved a magic wand. That still make. Well, real basics always been the problem. Yeah.
That's 960. That's I didn't say that. And that leaves us for rural basic a negative 4126, which, you know, this is all guesstimates, so.
Well, that's livable. And there's times that's been had 100 in front of it.
Mhm.
But the, is all the COVID, money in that, is that still in figured in that 1.3?
I'm not sure you're asking.
Well, you
Here?
said, yes.
It's all in the general basic fund as far as, yes.
Okay.
And
So -40,
other has, I think, the loss.
is that
is in there.
dollars, is that percentage, what the hell is that?
What's your question? I
What the -40,
The rural service, the
is
basic.
that a percentage, is that dollars, what is it?
Dollars.
That's dollars.
$40?
No,
40,000.
40,000.
Okay,
2,000. But it's always been a problem with the budget. Sometimes it's always been a negative 150,000.
That's a manageable.
That's a,
because you have the general that's offsetting it, is that what you're saying?
And a lot of guesstimates.
But, you know, for the transfer to secondary roads, though, I have to look and see if rural will cover it, and if not, then I pull it from general basic, so.
And
That
that's
has
at,
to be used.
that's at 75% right now, that's what's shown?
for Adams.
Yeah, right.
That's manageable, real manageable.
The only concern is the max levy notice with the 9.68. Shows an 8.6 difference for this rural basic and a 9.6 or 6.6 for general.
That's the percent of change.
So it's a problem raising it that much? It wasn't a problem lowering it that much. And I'm just asking. too.
Is it a problem?
I mean, there has to be an explanation, which part of that is the state valuations were lowered and.
All of the expenses that have gone up in the past 2 years,
So.
Inflation,
gas,
just put inflation in three exclamation.
wages, insurance, what hasn't gone down?
Because our costs went up. and-
I know, I'm just saying that.
Right.
In the grand scheme
There
of
is a
things,
consequence to raising it, an explanation.
this is
Yeah,
8%.
It has to be because it's over the 2%, so the explanation has to be published with it, so
Inflation's gone up more than that.
I'm just the messenger.
Yeah,
as
no.
to-
Well, I think,
To publish.
well, the explanation is easy,
Yeah.
and we're going
Well-
back up to the rate we was at 2 years ago.
Yeah, correct.
So,
Yeah.
okay, is that what we're
Expenses
wanting
have
to
gone
do
up,
then?
Unfortunately, for everybody.
Yes,
Sounds great. Let's publish it.
you need a motion.
No, there's no action,
So-
because we're gonna have the public hearing on that. once I get it.
I'm for 9.68072.
Okay,
We have no choice.
I'll get that sent off, so it's.
And that's where we was at 2 years ago, so we haven't.
Right. But inflation
Yeah, it's
and
caught up.
mental health. When we were paying a bill was only about a $480,000 deal.
Now it's way more than that.
Well, the state's paying it, but
State wages.
well, our raises cost 450,000. So we brought mental health back. I mean, it's simple farm.
You're gonna have Sandy write a little letter and tell them to politely get back.
I think. Oh, I think just, how to be on a bulletin board so we can throw darts at it.
So are we motion?
But yeah, I think, this completes our agenda. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second. All in favor, say let's get out of here.
All right.
Aye.